Before joining the European Economic Community in 1973, Britain was known as the sick man of Europe because of low productivity, raging inflation, and the lack of investment in infrastructure. The stagnating British economy was one of the main motivations to join the European Community in the first place, and within 10 months of Brexiting, the UK economy is showing every sign of returning to its pre-EU status. This video looks at 6 current economic issues and the extent to which each has been caused or worsened by Brexit. Stay tuned. If you enjoy these videos, please like, subscribe or hit the bell for notifications of new videos twice weekly. As poor old Boris Johnson jets off for his first holiday in a whole month, what are these 6 economic issues he's fleeing from? And to what extent are they Brexit related? Number 1. Job vacancies. There are currently 2 million job vacancies in the UK. 2 million. Can you imagine how much damage that is doing to the economy? How it lowers tax revenue for the government and thus leads to lower spending on public services, universal credit, the NHS and so on. Though it seems to have no impact when it comes to this particular government finding money to block asylum seekers or upgrade Trident or subsidise fossil fuels and animal products or spaff £37 billion on track and trace apps where money ends up in the pockets of Tory donors or cronies. Amazon, the Royal Mail and the major retailers have started their annual recruitment campaign for seasonal workers and are finding it near on impossible. The Sun newspaper reckons that 1.6 million furloughed workers may have been made redundant at the end of September, but points out that the skill set of those being made redundant doesn't match the skill sets required for those 2 million vacancies. The Sun newspaper itself gives the example of the car repairs sector, which had 224,500 staff on furlough on the last day of the scheme, but there are just 124,000 vacancies in that sector. Now clearly the pandemic led to furlough and the post-pandemic economy looks very different today than it did before the pandemic started. But this mismatch between the pool of unemployed and the skills required for unfilled vacancies is exacerbated by the fact that 1 million workers who did have the skills required for these 2 million vacancies returned home to countries within the EU and left the UK labour pool forever leading up to Brexit. And of course, our loss is the EU's gain, meaning that their recovery from the pandemic is going to be faster and more complete than that of the UK. So yes, the pandemic is a factor, but undoubtedly Brexit has made the situation so much worse. Issue number 2, deliveries. Now obviously this issue is related to issue number 1, the vacancies issue we just covered, but so many of the problems facing our economy relate to the 100,000 shortfall of HGV drivers. 96% of British logistics firms have recruitment problems and are running short of warehouse staff, van drivers, mechanics, technicians, forklift drivers and transport managers. COVID obviously had an impact because it prevented 45,000 new drivers from being able to take the HGV driving test. But in addition to that, of the HGV drivers that left the UK during the pandemic, 19,000 have not returned due to Brexit regulations and having their freedom of movement rights to Britain taken away. Again, those 19,000 drivers are Britain's loss and the EU's gain. Because yes, some EU countries like Poland and Germany do have a driver shortage too, but it's not impacting the supply chain as it is in Britain, as additional drivers are being drafted in from other countries within the EU, like Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia. Demographic changes, low wages and terrible working conditions have led to a long-term decline in the number of HGV drivers across Europe. But Brexit means that this is a far bigger issue in Britain than it would have been had we not Brexited. Issue number 3, petrol and diesel shortages. Army tanker drivers were deployed by the government to help replenish filling stations last week, the 3rd week of fuel shortages. The shortage has been caused by a lack of lorry drivers and by panic buying, and although it's now easing, at the time of recording this today, 12% of petrol stations in London and the South East still had no fuel at all. So can we lay this one at the door of Brexit? Well, even the BBC, who hate to mention Brexit ever, admit that while many countries across Europe have been affected, the UK has been especially badly hit. The BBC News website, giving an explanation of the fuel shortages, makes it all about driver shortages and states that after Brexit, many European drivers returned to their home countries or moved elsewhere because working in the UK involved additional border bureaucracy which had an impact on their income. So there you have it, the BBC admitting that Brexit means Britain has been especially badly hit. Issue number 4, spiralling gas and electricity costs. Domestic fuel bills have gone up by an average £139 between September and October, and unless wholesale prices of gas fall, domestic customers may end up paying £600 more per year. The number of families struggling to heat their homes, trapped in fuel poverty, could rise by 1.5 million to 5.5 million by the spring of next year. And this is made worse by the £20 cut in universal credit for poorer families. 12 British energy firms have already gone bust this year, while no EU energy suppliers appear to have gone bust at all. While gas and electricity prices haven't risen quite so sharply in the EU as in the UK, there are many reasons for this, and I'm not sure that Brexit is a major factor on this one. But if you think I'm wrong, feel free to leave a comment below. Economic issue number 5 is to do with business costs and mainly arises from the same gas and electricity price issue. Gas bills are not capped for businesses, and spiralling prices led to fertiliser factories shutting down last month, which in turn created a shortage of the gas carbon dioxide. These higher fuel bills are leading to production of steel, glass, paper, ceramics and other essentials being uneconomic, meaning production being halted and the possible closure of manufacturing plants. Planning and corrective action from this appalling government is conspicuous by its absence. Their philosophy, so articulately voiced by Boris Johnson as business, has never been better illustrated than by the complete lack of support during the current gas and electricity cost crisis. Perhaps there's no direct link to Brexit, but nevertheless an obvious link to a government that, rather than tackling and solving the myriad problems being faced by British business, is just wasting their time and being distracted by implementing a failing Brexit and trying to renegotiate some of the essential terms of the Brexit deal they drafted, agreed to, ratified and are now breaking in defiance of international law. Economic issue number 6 is retail. In the past 2 weeks in Britain, according to the Office for National Statistics, 17% of people have still been unable to buy essential food items, and nearly a quarter said they'd still not been able to buy other non-essential items. Some shelves in supermarkets and other shops remain empty after several weeks. Even more worryingly, people are also having to wait longer for prescription medicines to arrive. Logistic firms have warned that these problems will get more severe in the run-up to Christmas. My more observant viewers will have noted that I specified that this was happening in Britain, not the UK. That's because these issues are not present in Northern Ireland, which is still effectively within the single market and the EU customs union. The issues in retail, now that the pingdemic excuse has been put to bed, is due purely to Brexit. Northern Ireland and the EU countries do not have these issues. It's Britain and Britain alone. Without Brexit, we'd have no empty shelves, access to more natural gas, cooperation with 27 other countries to lessen price volatility, 19,000 more HGV drivers, and 1 million more workers filling jobs where vacancies are running at a level that is hurting the British economy and will continue to hurt it until we either rejoin the EU single market for labour or, like any other advanced economy with an ageing population, until we can source those workers from poorer countries with a younger demographic. In Britain's case, that probably means more workers from Commonwealth countries like India, Pakistan and Bangladesh. That makes a lot of sense economically, but I've no idea whether your average Brexit voter will be happy with this alternative source of labour. What's your best guess? Leave a comment below.